Good morning. It's another Wednesday morning, and honestly, this morning has been quite difficult for me. But I don't want to bog you down or bring you onto my level. My discontent is not yours. So, welcome. We start again with some sports because sports is always good for the soul. This morning, we're joined by Sayo Oguntoye. Sayo?
Good morning to you, Mukai.
Good morning. Thank you for being with me. I can't tell you how good it is to have a
It's a pleasure
knowledgeable
here.
partner on with me this morning. I'm not an endless font of knowledge, but I'm happy you're here.
Thank you very much.
So we start with the Olympics. A total of 61 athletes will fly the Nigerian flag in 9 different sporting events at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, scheduled to be held from 23rd of July to 8th of August 2021. The athletes will leave Nigeria for Tokyo in 2 weeks in 2 groups, according to Minister of Sports Sunday Dare, who stated this in Abuja yesterday during a plenary meeting with National Sports Federation for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and Paralympic Games. The appearance of the COVID-19 epidemic in the first quarter of 2020 disrupted the organizational structures of both the Olympics and the Paralympic Games, the minister stated. As a result, international federations, IFs, were compelled to evaluate their international sporting calendars and qualification pathways for athletes seeking to compete in the Games. The qualified athletes vary across 9 sports for the Olympics and 22 athletes in 4 sports for the Paralympic Games. These athletes are in athletics, 22, badminton, 3, basketball, 24, canoe sprint, 1, gymnastics, 1, rowing, 1, taekwondo, 1, table tennis, 1, wrestling, 1, which sums up to 61 in total for the Paralympic Games as well. Para-athletes will number 5, powerlifting will be 10, power rolling will be 1, para table tennis 6, summing up to 22. The minister further said the recent qualification of Nigeria for the women's 4x100 meters, women's 4x400 meters, and 4x400 meters mixed relays was a significant achievement for the country while still awaiting the World Athletics to ratify the slots in a few days. Shayo, we can't escape talking about the Olympics. It's fast approaching, and the preparations have been going on for a while now. Yet, I have to say that there's still some issues that were clearly not resolved. On Sunday, we witnessed the Athletics Federation put on a show to get many of our athletes to qualify, but the men still missed out on the 4x100 meters and the 4x400 meters. And even the high jump was missed out on. Are we just kidding ourselves that we're going to do well at this particular Olympics?
Doing well at the Olympics is not something we can actually achieve in this very coming Olympics because just let's even start with the numbers. 61 athletes going to represent Nigeria. So how many medals are you expecting from these 61 athletes? It's really totally uncalled for. Aspirations also have been shoddy. Just look at what happened over the weekend in our athletics, where we even have the most chances of winning medals. So all in all, I think I'm not expecting magic to happen at the Olympics. We might just end up with the Olympics maybe with 1 or 2 medals as usual.
Well, the community sports and educational development have been actually celebrating Olympics Day with their initiative, which with residents of the IDP, internally displaced persons, Camp Uhogwa, Edo State, Maria Usifo, a 1984 Olympian from Los Angeles, was on hand to mentor some children and youths. The Nigeria School Sports Federation, NSSF, and the Association for Former Female Athletes of Nigeria collaborated to celebrate Olympic Day. Usifo, who competed for Nigeria in the 1984 and 1988 Olympic Games, spoke to the students about it. She talked about how it takes real courage and real strength. She urged them to stay away from drugs and to focus on schoolwork while enjoying the benefits of sports. Apart from assisting children and youths in developing a healthy mind and a healthy body, Usifo believes that participating in sports can provide them with future employment opportunities as well as the opportunity to receive scholarships to study in Nigerian and international higher educational institutions. Usifo, a former hurdler and quarter miler who was a product of Nigeria's once functional school sports system in the 1970s, said athletics allowed her to choose among 10 international institutions after her outstanding performance at the 1982 Commonwealth Games in Brisbane, Australia. Now, Shaya, this is one of those legends in athletics that we like to harken back to. We like to say that if they did it, then others can do it. But the terrain has changed a lot. What she was able to rely on back then is no longer available. It's no longer even functional in this day and age. But here she is still trying to encourage the youth to take sports seriously. What do you think?
I want to agree with that. You see, the future of sport in Nigeria lies in the hands of the youth. And the youth themselves have a starting point. It can be from the institution of school, maybe the primary school, secondary school, and the tertiary education itself. That is where these athletes have been groomed before they now become athletes proper. And I think that is where we need to go back to the drawing board. It's just that some of these competitions have been organized by schools or whatever, and then the motive behind, organizing these competitions have been defeated because some still bring out machinery as small as a school setting. Still, they are using machinery. It doesn't speak well, and that is what is killing the sport or athletes in Nigeria as a whole.
I wonder, though, if a lot of these legends that we have are not being ignored, because these are the kinds of educated, experienced veterans that should be heading up a lot of the institutions that we rely on to prepare our athletes for the games. Why aren't more of them personally and professionally involved?
Well, it is because we are not doing the right things. These athletes that have given Nigeria a good name in international competitions were selected well. They were selected based on merit. They were, the right things then were done. But now, as to say, we have not, continued from that place we stopped. We've actually digressed. We've taken one footstep forward and two footsteps backward. And that is just why we are where we are today.
Oh, well, you speak about them being picked as athletes on merit, but the merit system doesn't seem to apply when it comes to organizing the institutions, the personnel that inhabit these institutions. Do you think at the end of the day that our athletes will continue to suffer if these veterans are not brought on board based on their merit to carry on for the nation?
Of course, our athletes will continue to suffer. You see, the thing is, when they are going to the Olympics now, who are they going against to face? Are they going there to face schoolboys? The answer is no. They are going there to face professionals, professional athletes. And that is where start separating the boys from the men. If you can avoid the things here in Nigeria, what about in the international world where things are done? Okay, for example now, some athletes have started training for this coming Tokyo Olympics right since 4 years ago. and you are just coming few months to the competition, and then you expect to win medals. It's not done. It's not magic.
You're so right, Sayo. You're so right. I want to talk about football now. The Toffees have made a very important decision. They've chosen a new manager. Rafael Benitez has stepped into the role vacated by Ancelotti. This has happened despite the weeks-long show against this decision by the fans. The Toffees fans have not forgotten the words Benitez once reportedly said, that telling the media that Everton are a small club. The fans haven't forgotten this. Yet the chairman has decided to bring on this manager, even though, granted, he's the second former Real Madrid manager to have taken up the position in recent years. He has a lot of pedigree. He has trophies to his name. But the trophies he has to his name, whether you think about his time at Inter Milan, whether you think about his time at Real Madrid, no matter where he's been, he's had trophies. However, the trophy that matters to the Toffees the most, his managerial stint that matters to the fans the most, is his time at Liverpool, where he carried a Champions League medal trophy. Do you think the chairman, and in fact the entire board, have made a grave error ignoring the concerns of the fans regarding this appointment?
Well, I don't think they made a great error in signing Rafael Benitez. You see, players and coaches have said so many things about a certain club, which will still come back to become their own club. I'll give a good example. Samuel Eto'o, when he was playing for Barcelona then, he said he would never play under a coach like Jose Mourinho. And then the next season they swapped in with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And then he said Jose Mourinho is one of the best coaches ever to coach a football. So it's either way. These players, they say a whole lot of things, and then they come out and say, oh, they were quoted out of context and stuff like that. So I think it's just good for the game. It's going to be a nice one having Rafael Benitez back in the Premier League. Don't forget he has exploits at the other half of Liverpool there, Anfield to be precise. So it's going to be difficult to see how he's going to pan out against his former club, Liverpool, if the deal finally comes out.
Interestingly, though, this is not the first club, former rivals that he has taken up the managerial position for. We remember his time at Chelsea, however brief that stint was. But the rumors that persisted about the club intending to bring him on actually led to a banner being displayed that was very threatening. It stated, "We know where you live. Don't take the job." So how can anyone think that this isn't going to have a serious impact on the fan base and therefore the club in general?
Well, I want to also agree that not all the Everton fans would not want to see a coach like Rafael Benitez on their dugout. He has the pedigree, he has the name, he's not a bad manager. He has the experience also. And for me, I just think some fans also want him to come, while some also do not want him to come. So I think it's not what the fans want now, it's what would move the club forward. Because Ancelotti has started the project, and it would be nice if a good manager also steps up and take over from the project.
Well, clearly, the board is still intending to carry on with that project because the ambition is clearly still there to qualify for one of the European spots. Let's move on to the game between England and Germany. Gareth Southgate and Harry Maguire applauded the scintillating atmosphere English fans created at Wembley Stadium as England beat Germany by 2-0 to reach the Euro 2020 quarterfinals. Second half goals from Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane ended England's decades-long inferiority complex against their old historic rivals. Southgate called England's knockout tie victory over Germany one of brains over heart, and praised standout performer Jack Grealish for being patient and taking his moment when it came.
Yeah, obviously, first and foremost, to have the fans, that felt like a proper football match. Probably the first time I've felt it in a long time. That was the atmosphere that we've been missing, and that's the atmosphere that football deserves. So it was magnificent to get the fans back in the stadium. Of course, to put a smile on the faces after a tough couple of years for everyone involved in this country. So we knew the pressure of coming out at Wembley against Germany. We knew that we had to win the game, and we did it with a great performance, a controlled performance, and obviously a magnificent victory and a big celebration in the end.
I mean, the players were immense, I have to say. Right the way through the team, they were immense. And they have given the fans in the stadium, who were also incredible. I mean, I've been here with a full house and not heard it anywhere near the levels that the crowd found today. But they were behind every challenge. They were behind every time we pressed the ball. They were behind every run we had. And the energy was incredible in the stadium. So to be able to send them home feeling as they do tonight, to hear them at the end, I mean, you can't beat a bit of Sweet Caroline, can you? That's a belter, really.
Meanwhile, outgoing Germany coach Joachim Low regretted his team's missed opportunities in their 2-0 defeat by England in the Euro 2020 last 16 game on Tuesday, after his 15-year run at the helm of the national team came to a losing end at Wembley Stadium. In what turned out to be Low's last game in charge, his sides found no way past a granite-like defense that has yet to concede in the tournament, as Germany missed 2 golden chances through Timo Werner and Thomas Müller in either half. Low, who took over in 2006 and led Germany to the 2014 World Cup title before they crashed out of the tournament 4 years later in the first round, will be succeeded by former Bayern Munich coach Hansi Flick. Low indicated for a little break after 15 years with the German national team. Sayo, this brings an end to what some might call a successful and others might call an average time in charge for Joachim Low. England have also done something they haven't done in a while. In fact, they did something they haven't done at any other point during this tournament. They scored 2-0 to beat Germany. What do you think?
Yes, you see, England are gradually coming into this competition. You know, I made mention of the fact that England's group are the most boring group in the Euros. And now England are just gradually coming in. You know, they've scored 4 goals in this tournament so far, and Raheem Sterling has scored 3 of those goals. So he is responsible for 90% of England's goals. So a lot of pressure is on his shoulders, and I'm happy now also that Harry Kane has come out. He has scored a goal also. Maybe they can kick off from there. And I see England in the semi-finals because they are facing, I think, Ukraine now. They are facing Ukraine, so that should be a light water feast for them. They should be able to dispatch Ukraine. And coming to the Germans now, Joachim Low is so sad that he's going to end his German tenure in a defeat. I think the time he should have left is long overdue. They were up high in the sky, and now they are crushing ground on the ground. I think Joachim Low, he has led the team back to a decline. Germany is declining, and it's just so obvious. I mean, the list just is endless.
Interestingly enough, Harry Kane scoring his first goal in this tournament after weeks of questions being asked about his abilities. Yet, Thomas Müller missed a golden chance to score, to actually equalize for the team. It's weird, the fortunes in this game, that someone as confident and as assured as Müller would miss, and yet Harry Kane, after weeks of failing to hit the net, suddenly gets his first goal. What do you think?
Yes, I want to agree with that. If Thomas Muller had actually buried that chance into the back of the net, possibly it might have been much more difficult. It would have maybe gone the other way around. Also, I would like to take a cue from the 2010 World Cup where England were cheated. At that point it was 2-1 to Germany, and Lampard scored a rocket of a goal, which was disallowed. The referee didn't see that. And also, if that goal had gone in, it would have also changed the way the game actually went, which actually ended by 4 goals to 1. So I think it's payback time now for Germany. England got their own pound of flesh back, and it's actually a much more crushing defeat now because it's more recent, and the Germans will live to lick these wounds.
Tennis great Serena Williams limped out of Wimbledon in tears on Tuesday after a right leg injury forced her retirement early in the first round match against unseeded Belarusian Alexandra Sasnovich. The American sixth seed, a 7-time champion bidding for a record-equaling 24th Grand Slam singles crown, was clearly in pain early in the first set on a slippery center court and limped off for treatment while 3-2 ahead. The 39-year-old, who has been 3-1 up before the injury, sank to the grass sobbing before being helped off the court. Shayo?
Yeah, hello?
Hello, Shayo. That was incredibly hard to watch. Serena Williams screaming in pain and limping off. What do you make of it?
It's so sad. I think age is no longer on her side. She's old, she's aging, 39, and to bow out of the competition due to injury. No wonder she was in tears. She knows on a good day she will dispatch that opponent, but it's sad. Injury is taking a toll on her, and she doesn't have any power on that. So I think it's a sad one for Serena Williams, and I think this is just the beginning of the end for her.
The awareness of how limited our chances are of getting that 24th single is the reason why she broke out in tears so easily.
She wanted to go one past the previous one she had set for herself, but it's looking very bleak now, very very bleak. Champion, we know she doesn't give up easily. She's tough, she's strong, but it's not looking very good for her now. I think it's time to call it quits on the game of tennis for her.
All right. Meanwhile, Roger Federer and Coco Gauff were among the first to react to Serena Williams limping out of Wimbledon in tears after her latest bid for a record-equaling 24th Grand Slam singles crown ended in injury.
A terrible ending, and one that I don't like to see, and I don't know, I just felt really down, especially with everything that I went through with my knee, and then that was his knee as well. I hope he's not out for a long time. So I just, I don't know, I just felt like it was really bad ending, but okay, that's how it goes sometimes, and I just hope he's not out for long, like I said.
But yeah, with Serena, I mean, it was hard for me to watch that. I'm a big fan of her, even though I'm a competitor now, but she's the reason why I started to play tennis. So it's hard to watch any player get injured, but especially her. It was not easy to watch. I actually turned away. I was in the gym actually stretching. I turned away because stuff like that just makes me like really emotional. I mean, I wish her the best, and I wish that hopefully she can have a speedy recovery. And yeah, you can tell that she was really emotional. Nobody ever wants to retire, but especially at a Grand Slam in a place as special as Wimbledon after waiting 2 years to come back. But I mean, the only thing I can do is wish her well wishes and hope that she'll be back in time for the hard court season.
Shaya?
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's not a surprise that the exit of Serena Williams and her injury is raising some emotions amongst her colleagues, such as Federer and Coco. Uh, are we going to get more voices added to this? Because she's a legend.
Absolutely, she's a legend. And the bitter thing is, injuries also are part of the game. Imagine a match you have and you are going on strong. All of a sudden, you cannot continue. You are out of the tournament because of injury, not because you were second best to your opponent. I mean, it hurt, it pained, and that's why she was in tears. And even Roger spoke earlier. Now, he has been in the shoes before. He had a niggling growing knee injury, which keeps reoccurring, and it also affected his performance on the court. So it's just there. Injury is part of the game.
Well, thank you, Shayo, for your astute analysis of these sporting events.
Always a pleasure.
Always glad to have you. I hope you join us again very soon.
Hopefully.
Thank you, everyone at home, for watching. It's been one of those mornings where my spirits are not exactly high, but for you and for the sake of sports, I find a way through. Sports is good for your heart, as Scott always says. Please enjoy some more. Have a wonderful day.